basketball. Last night, Auburn beaten by Arkansas. I still think Auburn is the best team in the country. I know there's probably maybe you could throw it up in the air, 5 to 8 teams. Baylor was a part of that. Not right now. Not until they kind of get themselves back on track. But Auburn still played really well. Arkansas just had one of those nights, right? Just kind of like Texas did on Monday. Arkansas needed a quality win. They're pretty good, 7-3 or 8-3 in the conference, but they needed that. And so that was a very impressive, and they stormed the court. We're in that mindset now. We're storming the court, and I don't mind it as long as security's enough to where no one gets hit in the head, and then there's a fight, and then it becomes the story instead of the game.
Well, Remy Martin apparently got a little dinged by some students on Monday. So Kansas fans are none too happy about it. But I'll say this. Part of the thing is I think your goal should be to be a school that never has to storm anything.
Now, I understand that, and we brought this up with Brian Davis and Craig. You know how popular and how historic the Texas baseball team is. They don't do the dog pile unless they win the World Series in Omaha, and they have the history to do that. Their football team hasn't been good since 2009, but I don't think you would ever see them storm the field. If they beat Alabama in the second game next year, with all of what they've been through, a decade plus of mediocrity, I still don't think you'll see them storm the field. I think people would absolutely hyperventilate and maybe pass out if they did that at Texas. What do you think?
I mean, I guess. I don't know. Storming the court and storming the field is not that big of a deal to me. People want to play police over that thing. It's stupid to see Ohio State rush the field after they beat, Indiana. That's dumb. But, I mean, the people that get – cop over it. I don't care that much. I mean, I'm sorry. I would love to care more about something but to me, it's just very trivial and not that big of a deal. I don't see too many teams that abuse it. And if there's a school that does it a one-off, randomly, because of just the buildup. And, a lot of times the people that are complaining about storming the court or rushing the field, they're not even there. They're sitting on their couch, and they have no idea what's going on inside the stadium or the feeling or the energy. And they just sit there and they point at their TV, and they're like, how stupid. But were you there? Did you sense, why maybe that happened the way that it did?
Because that does build up.
Yes, it does. It does. You don't plan that out before you do it. It's one of those things where you might be in a game you didn't think you were going to win, and you end up winning it, and it's oh my gosh, everybody goes crazy. But you didn't go to the game that day thinking you were going to storm the field or storm the court. So, I do think there's instances where it's probably happened for some schools that are probably a bit too big to celebrate a win that's not that big, but maybe it's one that they just desperately needed. I don't know. So I think it just kind of comes down to the situation. I don't try to play traffic cop over that deal, and I'm certainly not. I haven't thought 1 second about the storming of the court. As far as that particular example goes, it's fine with me. I mean, it's whatever.
The reason I bring it up, I think I saw some that were we don't do that. Oh my God. It's not. If baseball, I can get it. And even football, I can get it despite, again, 10 or 12 years of mediocrity. And they have had a Final Four with Texas and TJ Ford or whatever. But hey, come on. There's nothing wrong. One of the problems at Texas and one of the problems at times with the Farrell Center, even though at times the students will show up, especially for the men's game, and had their largest showing against, Texas on Friday, or maybe it was Oklahoma, whatever it was last week, is that you want them to come to the game and be a part and get engaged, and then you want to police them where they want to freaking enjoy a moment. Let them enjoy a moment. Now, Baylor's the defending national champions. If first of all, they got to get themselves together. But if they would have beat Kansas this year, you expect that. Now, right now you don't, because I don't know who they are. You would expect that. 5 years ago, maybe you do, right? But you are now in a different era because you just recently won the national title.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm fine with people doing it whenever they do it. But the ultimate in sports fan awesomeness is if that you just go all right, good deal.
That's what. Yeah,
let's go.
Let me tell you something. There's a lot of programs now with great history, but there are certain wins now because they don't have that. That history is history. That means it's in the past, and a lot of times it's 10, 12, 15, or 25 years ago. I can even see some of them that would probably open up the door if they get a big win, because sometimes you wonder if any of them will ever get a big win again. All right, so we've done that.
So since Bud Walton Arena, they had never hosted a number one visiting team.
There you go.
So, maybe if you just look at it for 2 seconds, you realize, oh, hey, that was actually kind of a big deal. We spent way too much time on storming the court, I think, because I do think that people try to pick that apart, and it's really what we're talking about, maybe like 2 people online that are annoyed
I actually wasn't even bringing them up, but I thought that was awesome.
Yeah,
I did, and I was bringing it up because I saw some chatter after Monday's game against Kansas.
Hadn't beaten a number 1 team since 1984. When they beat Michael Jordan in North Carolina. So it's kind of a long time ago. So, Arkansas in particular, I don't care about that. Hey, celebrate. You beat Auburn. Auburn was looking unbeatable there for a second, they were just running through people and picking up win after win and enjoying their reign on top. And to topple them when it didn't look like they were going to suffer too many losses the rest of this way, and hadn't beat a team number 1 since '84 and Michael Jordan. Go for it. And there are other instances where I do think it's a little silly. You can do it too much, but in the Arkansas example in particular, I think it's all good.
Most of the people who complain about someone storming the court or the field are the ones who probably just lost.
Exactly. Yeah, there's that too. Yeah.
Saw this from John